Welcome back. Well, we've made it. We're at the final segment of our incubator program. We are ready to launch. And while launch is the end of your planning process, it's the beginning of your time as an operating company. It's a big step, but it's the first of many that you'll take as you continue to grow and evolve. So, our whole goal with the launch is to prepare you to take those future steps, to set yourself up to continue to grow smart. We've talked about MVP as it applies to your product or service, setting up something small, feasible, workable that allows you to learn, adapt, and grow. And we think you should apply these priorities to all your growth. We're calling it a minimum viable process. The whole idea is that rather than launch everything all at once, be everything you might ever want to be, you stage your growth. This reduces your risks and limits the amount of time and capital needed to get to whatever the next stage might be. It minimizes your cost and it maximizes your flexibility. You don't get overcommitted to things that you haven't really tested yet that might not end up being the way you want to go exactly. And importantly, it provides vital on the ground training for you and your team. You really get to see what the customer wants. What do they want now? What might they want next? What did you think they want that they end up not really caring that much about? And because there's so much involved in learning everything that you need in order to continue to grow your company, it allows you to focus your efforts on a limited number of skills and processes, get those where they need to be, and move on. So, launching the MVP is phase one, but as you grow, you're really going to want to continue to take this approach to minimize the requirements, to maximize the flexibility, to reduce risk. So, most people, when they think of launch, think of kind of this big, grand opening, ta da, here we are type of thing. That's very exciting. And there's something to be said for excitement that helps build your brand. It feels like you've really moved fast, you've gotten to a big, important stage, and you have. But getting there requires you to do so many very different things all at once and do them well. And that's just not going to happen because there are so many unknowns. And so the other thing that tends to happen, in addition to the cost, the complexity, and the time involved, is that you're so busy focusing on those things that didn't go as you hoped that you can miss the wins. You can miss the green shoots, the things that are going to really point you in the right direction. If, on the other hand, you phase your growth, you're going to be able to get going faster because you'll need less time, less money, fewer new skills. You can focus your efforts where you really think it will pay off, and you can maintain that flexibility. You have more capital, you have more time, you can redirect yourself and your team as needed. You can keep going and moving in a direction that's going to be productive. This might feel like you're moving slower, but over time you can actually move faster because you're going to keep moving in the right direction with fewer mistakes. So, what do you want to think about? At each stage, including your launch, you're going to want to think about these things. First of all, who? You've thought a lot about who is your target customer, but is that the right customer for this stage? The MVP customer may just be a subset of your target customer. It might be slightly adjacent to your target customer. It's who you can reach and who will react to the product offering that you have now. So the second thing to really focus on is why. Why is this offering, the thing that you are launching at this stage, going to appeal to that customer that you just defined? Now you need to think about you and your company. What will you learn or prove? This isn't just a shot across the bow, it's a step in your continued progress. So, what's going to come out of this step that will help you know that you're on the right track? Next is where. Where do you need to spend your time? Even with this phased growth, there's still going to be a lot to do. So, where can you invest your time and efforts that will have the biggest potential payoff? Then how can you reduce the time and investment required? How can you offload some of those things that aren't as essential? How can you find some of the capabilities that are essential that you may not want to invest in yet? And then when? When are you ready to go? One of the objectives of doing things in phases is that you don't have to be perfect. Good enough is good enough. The whole goal is to get out there, talking to customers, seeing what they say, learning and improving. So, when are you ready to take that step? So, we mentioned that a key to moving fast and efficiently is figuring out what you don't need to own. As you go through the planning and you think about what it is you're doing at this stage, you're going to come up with a lot of things that you need. Understanding what those are is really important, but needing things doesn't mean you need to own or control them. There are a lot of things that fall into this category. A physical location is a big one. You may need an office, you may need a sales floor or a showroom or a warehouse, but do you really need to lease and build out and pay rent on that? Is there somebody else who has a space that you can use on a sublease basis, on a timeshare, as a pop up? With equipment, there may be things that you need, but is there a way that rather than going out and buying it, you can pay per use when you actually need it for a project? Can you barter for it with somebody else who you may be able to provide a product or service to? Then Salesforce, branding, marketing. Obviously, you need those things. You need to reach customers, but do you need to do it yourself? Is there somebody else who's already in contact with the customer that you're targeting, who has perhaps more credibility than you have at this point, who can reach them faster and more effectively so that you can test out that product market fit, so that you can see for sure whether that customer really wants your product or service the way you're offering it right now. The advantages of this go beyond saving money. First of all, you get to grow and develop your business to a point where you know that you can afford and that you need to invest in whatever that capability is. And you get to test out different options. You can test different neighborhoods, you can test different store layouts, you can try different types of equipment to see what fits your needs best. With Salesforce or marketing, you can see which approach works for you, what type of branding is landing with which customers before you go out and invest in it yourself. Another important way to launch and grow efficiently is to tie your spending to your earnings. And this means that rather than go out and spend speculatively, invest in advertising, invest in a sales force, you spend after you have a transaction. So, what does this look like? It could be a commission, a finder's fee, a revenue share, some way in which you share the revenues of an actual sale with another company, an outside salesperson, an agent or representative who brings that sale to you. If you're in a consumer-facing business, you can use a refer a friend discount, a discount on next purchase, some system where you do offer a discount, but only after you have that purchase in hand. This also has meaningful advantages. It aligns your cash flow. It means that you're only spending out of revenue you've received instead of out there spending money ahead of time, hoping it works. But it also provides an incentive. If you're paying a commission or a finder's fee, that is incentivizing that other person or organization to work on your behalf. If you're paying a refer a friend discount with a discount on next purchase, you're incentivizing a customer to talk to a friend on your behalf or to return and purchase again. So you can always be more generous once you have a sale in hand. With all of that in mind, once you've planned what you're launching, who the customer is, what's in it for them, what you're going to learn, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. You want to come up with a launch plan. What does the launch look like to you? What does that launch mean? What are you going to be doing for whom? What resources are you going to need, not only for the product or service, but to support the sales, to support the marketing, to get out there to find and support those customers? And then how are you going to get there? What things do you need to learn? What skills or assets do you need to acquire or get access to? When? Because some of these things are going to be contingent on others. In order to do B, you have to have done A first. So you need to plan A now. What are you looking for as you get closer to launch? What would be positive? What are some danger signs? And how might you adapt? Have some backup plans. This is something that needs to be quite detailed. You want to start at the end and work backwards and make sure that you have all the steps lined up. But in doing so, you need to be ruthless. You're going to come up with a long list of things that you might want to do, but which of them do you need to do? That's what you need to focus on. This is the first of many stages at which you will ask first, why does this step make sense for you, for your customer? Which effort or skills is going to have the biggest impact? That's where you're going to need to focus your skills. Then where can you find the capabilities, the assets, the skills that you don't need to own yourself? How will all this help you get to the next stage? And then at that next stage, you're going to start again. Now, since this is launch, there are some things you're going to need at this stage that will carry you through. One is a corporate structure. In many cases, you may need or want to have either a corporation or an LLC. In some cases, you may be able to start your business as a sole proprietorship. You should check with a lawyer or accountant to make sure that that works for you. Financially, you want to have everything centralized. Ideally, you would have a corporate bank account and maybe a corporate debit or credit card. If you can't swing that right now, set up a separate personal account, get a separate personal debit card. Make sure that all your transactions are centralized in one place so that you can keep track of them. That is going to really be a benefit down the road. As a bonus, start with bookkeeping. You don't even need a bookkeeper. You can get free bookkeeping software. Make sure those bank transactions are being stored somewhere. So when you need it, you have the financial information you need. You should have a website so that people can find you and learn about you. It doesn't have to be fancy. A simple website that you build yourself may accomplish much of what you need at this early stage. You're also going to want to have a phone number and email that's different from your personal email so that you can reach people and people can reach you without exposing your personal contact information. Again, there are a number of free options you can use to get these going. And social media. You may not be planning to do that much social media right now, but get those names, try to standardize them, reserve the accounts you might need in the future so they're there when you need them. With those things in hand, you're ready to launch, and you can launch in the way that makes sense to you. Because the other advantage of staging your growth is there's a lot of paths to get where you want to go. So in this case, we're going to just move away from the dog walking example, and we're going to talk about launching a bakery. Let's say that I really want to open a cookie bakery. There's a lot of ways I could go. I could start by just baking for somebody else, for local coffee shops. Then perhaps once I get known in those shops, I launch a cookie club. I don't even need to market it. I can market it in the coffee shops I'm already in. Now I've got a customer base of my own. Maybe I launch an online store. That's going to help me build my brand. Once I've got that brand, I can take it elsewhere. I can sell wholesale. I can get out into more retailers. Maybe then I open my own store. I've got the brand. I've got a customer base. I've got some revenues. I'm going to be much better prepared to open the store. But I could do the same thing in a much different way. I could start with just a best cookie TikTok. All I need is my phone. I talk about great cookies that I've tried. I get some people excited about those cookies. I offer a best cookie gift box where people pay me and I send them 6 of the best cookies I've seen that month. That's going to help build my brand, build my customer base, and I'm going to be learning what customers like. So now I see an opportunity to launch my own flavor. In that next box, I throw in 1 or 2 of my own cookies. I start building my own reputation that way. Again, maybe I launch an online store, and if I want, go from there to my physical store. May not ever even need it. but I've given myself the option. I've given myself a chance to learn. I've made the money. I've built the brand slowly and steadily as I need it. I don't have to do everything at once, and I'm taking a lot less risk along the way. So, the project for this week is to plan your launch. What is it that your launch looks like and why? What are you trying to learn or prove? Who is that initial customer and where will you find them? How will you reach them? With that in mind, you want to go and do a detailed plan. What do you need to do when? What resources do you need? Again, need, not wish, nice to have, the absolute necessities. Do you need to control or own those yourself? Or is there another way you can find them? And if so, how? And then you want to make sure you have everything planned in the right order so you don't miss a step. And that's it. That's our final project. As always, we have a worksheet to help you plan. We have a sample that you can refer to. And if you have questions, please visit our website at paddlingfuriously.com/portal. You can ask your questions. You can answer other people's questions. This is the end of our incubator program, but we've got more exciting programs planned, and we'd also really love to hear from you. What would you like to hear more about? Leave us a comment, email us at paddlingfuriously.com/portal, and let us know what you're excited to learn about. And we're excited to see you in some of our future programs. Thanks so much.